Welcome to Cinemaphile, where we showcase the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers and talk to them about their work. I'm your host, Mike Kaspar. You can listen to other interviews by going to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar at Spotify. In Oscar-nominated filmmakers Heidi Ewing and Rachel Grady's life-affirming documentary, teenagers converge at a traditional folk high school in Arctic Norway, where they must rely on not only themselves, but one another and a loyal pack of sled dogs as they all grow in unexpected directions. Terrific film called Folktales. We're joined today by the co-directors Rachel Grady and Heidi Ewing. To both of you, welcome back to the program.
Thanks. Hi, Mike.
Hi. So glad to have you back. This is wonderful on a lot of different levels, getting to know these kids, kind of a meta look at the teen years worldwide, in a sense, worldwide, to see kind of the disconnect from what we grew up with, at least what I grew up with, a more traditional society of interaction with one another. And getting to know these kids, getting to know these young adults. It was really, really a great experience. I'll start with you, Rachel. Just how did this all come about?
It all came about because we found out we learned about these folk high schools from a book that Heidi read. It was a memoir from a woman that went to one of these schools, and we figured that they couldn't possibly still exist. It seemed like sort of an old-fashioned concept of young people going to spend a year figuring out what their purpose and meaning was,
Yeah.
for no other reason except for to be better adults and be a better member of society. That seemed too nice, too good, too different from Americans' point of view. And when we found out that they did exist and that they were all different and they did all kinds of hard things for kids to test themselves through, that we wanted to go and develop it. And then we went all over Norway, and we went to a bunch of these schools, and we found the Posvik school, and we met the teachers, and we saw this harsh, untouched beauty, and we met these beautiful dogs that look right deep into your eyes, and we said, yes, we are doing this.
So was this the furthest north you could go for one of these folk high schools? Was this almost the Arctic Circle, right? It is in the Arctic Circle, right?
It's 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle. On the border with Russia, it is the furthest north of all the folk high schools. There's 400 of them in Scandinavia and 80 in Norway, and this is the furthest north, yeah.
Not only do we get to meet these young adults who are making their way through this high school, many of whom seem reluctant to be there, but also the instructors. And I want to give some love to the people that we get to meet. Now, Iselin is one of them. What's the gentleman's name? I'm sorry.
Tor Atla.
Perfect name.
Tor Atla.
Yeah, so let's talk just a little bit about their background, like how they came to be a part of this. And do we need to explain much more about folk high schools? Would that help our listeners kind of understand it's sort of a back to nature kind of, is that a good way to?
Well, they're not all like that, but they're all over Scandinavia. They've been around for over 100 years. And the idea is an extra year of high school or a gap year that you can mature more and try something you've never done before. That could be living like a Viking. That could be circus arts. That could be theater. It could be dog sledding and Arctic survival. We focused, of course, on the folk high school that only focuses on Arctic survival, training, dogs, and all the outdoor things that Northern Norway has to offer. So it's a bit more hardcore, the school we focused on, than the average, I'd say. In terms of the teachers, Iselin and Tor Atla, who are like the quiet heroes of the film, Tor Atla, they're both educators who spend a lot of time outdoors. They both or have worked with dogs for many, many years. The interesting thing is Iselin, the younger teacher, was Tor Atla's student, and she'd come to the folk high school, and she was a completely shy person who didn't really want to even be there, and it changed her entire life, and she ended up returning and becoming a teacher there. So they both come at teaching a little bit differently. I think Toronto is more like the school of hard knocks, and Easterlin is just a little bit more on the gentle sort of nudging side. Together, they're dynamite. In fact, my very favorite moment at Sundance was a huge standing ovation reserved just for the teachers in Salt Lake. And I think that it was the first time in their life that they were really reminded that they matter and what they're doing matters deeply, not just to the students they're affecting, but the whole concept of someone who dedicates their lives to helping young people become adults, better adults. They felt deeply appreciated. And so, yeah, for the dogs and the teachers are kind of the quiet heroes of the film. And of course, we focus on the three protagonists primarily, though.
Yeah, I want to talk about the young adults in the film who bring something different to the equation in terms of telling the story. And help me out, Rachel. Is it Roman or Romain?
It's Roman.
Roman. Ege? And the last one, Bjorn Tor.
Bjorn.
I kept hearing a D in there. That's what was throwing me off.
Tor. The Norwegians really like a two-word first name.
Bjorn Tor. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of a typical teen reaction. Not like I'm an expert on teenagers, but kind of this aversion to want to do a lot of the things that are being asked to do. I think that's a common trait in teenagers. If you tell me I want to have to do it, they don't want to do it. So there's that part of it. But it also this back to nature. I really liked all of them. I could understand from their point of view the story of their life and what they're going through. All very relatable. Did you film a lot of other kids? Or did you kind of focus on these three from the beginning?
When we first got to the school, we definitely had conversations and engaged with all the kids that were there, all the students that were there. But we pretty quickly kind of closed in on these three people as our protagonists, starting right, honestly, from the first time we spoke to all of them, when they each clearly articulated to us what they were hoping to get out of this experience, where the others said, I didn't know what to do this year, so I thought it sounded fun, or, I want to learn how to be a better skier, or whatever, which is all totally valid, and everyone got very special things out of this year. But Roman said, I want to get over social anxiety. Okay. Jan Tor said, I want to make a friend. It's really hard for me to make a friend. I annoy everyone. Okay, that's a pretty brave thing to say. Hege, yeah, I'm looking for something. I lost my father and I have this grief and I don't know what to do with it. These all seemed like small stories on and the grand scheme of life in the world, but they were huge for these individuals. These are huge things that they were trying to achieve. They all worked in the dog line. They were all working with the dogs. They all had personal, deep goals for the year. And it just felt like these were great people to witness their development.
One of the things that Bjorn Tork says, it's kind of near the end of the film, but he says, everyone wants to be a teenager except teenagers. I thought that was a great line, and it's really stuck with me. Heidi, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about just what they go through, what they are being trained to do. It is very much an unplugged environment that they live in this school for a sustained period of time. And to see the resistance, and then you see not only the acceptance of what they're being asked to do, but the embracing of the other people in the film. It's really just I'll call it life affirming. This kind of sounds a little corny, but this film is really, truly life affirming to me.
I mean, I think right now we're focused on all the things that are wrong with human beings, just globally. And this film really reminds you the potential of tenderness and
Yeah.
care and love, and how we need each other and we're better off for it. And yeah, it all sounds corny until you see the movie. And then you see the movie and you're kind of like, oh, also your faith in the future. Another corny thing to say, these people are just starting their lives out.
Yeah.
They're 18, 19 years old. They have a whole world in front of them. They want to know how to operate in this world. They're aware that it's a fraught moment to be a human being on the planet Earth. It hasn't been lost on them. They're not hyper focused on it like older people are. It's all we talk about, right? It's sort of the end of things. They want to think about making a friend, falling in love, getting good at something, having a home, having adventures in their life. Who doesn't deserve an adventure? So they really pulled us as, adult New York filmmakers, into their world. And we became hyper invested in the smaller things that they were after, like making a friend, like raising your hand, like learning how to dogs, like standing up after you fall off the sled. These are the basic building blocks of becoming a human adult. And why not revisit that and revisit it again and again and again in this very fraught moment? And also watching how the dogs really brought out their humanity, and their nurturing aspect. We were reminded again that of the power of animals to unleash the human in us. So it was all extremely touching for us.
I'm going to ask you a question and pay you a compliment both. Going back to when I first met you with Jesus Camp and your understanding of group dynamics in an environment. And I think you are so good at that and so good in Jesus Camp and through your career as filmmakers. But this is another example of understanding a group dynamic and being able to use that to your advantage. And you see that in this film. And I'm so happy for you. And I just want to compliment you on that ability to see that and to be able to bring it to the fore in this film.
Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you, Mike.
You are so welcome. And by the way, real quick, it's opening here in Los Angeles on August 1st. I believe it's opening it is the Lemley NoHo 7, the Monica Film Center on August 1st, as well as a bunch of places.
It's the movie, but they can find it, and it's opening in many, many cities across
Yes.
the country. It's in theaters only. It's a big screen experience. So please come see it.
Yeah, it's being released through Magnolia. You have a cool little thing, a little once in a lifetime encounter thing you can look into, being entered into a very cool looking enterprise that Angeles National Forest, extraordinary, all this stuff. Just check it out. To both of you, I really, really am so happy and thankful that you're joining me again here on the program. The film is called Folktales. We've been joined today by the co-directors Rachel Grady and Heidi Ewing. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you, Mike.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile. I'm your host, Mike Kaspar, and you can listen to previous interviews as well as special programming, or you can subscribe by going to Cinemaphile, that's F-I-L-E, with Mike Kaspar, at Spotify. Until next time, thank you for listening.